Welcome once again to the ever experimenting up front with Frank Rothstein on Sky's Crescent Radio, broadcasting live from YouTube. Who'd have thunk it? Me on YouTube. Wow. Cool. And we are sitting here on the other end of my camera with her brand new background, the big splash, like she's sitting in front of sort of the Northern Lights. It is, of course, Jade Zabrick. We're just seeing what we could do with this thing. I've got a few more viewers on YouTube than I had when you were doing Facebook, but we are streaming live on Facebook. It is being shared to that. So if you go to Upfront, Frank Rothstein, you will see the show being broadcast there. I have to get off the YouTube page, so I'm looking at myself, talk to myself, and it's sort of very sort of confusing. 1 second here, please. And that is sort of what happens. Once you sort of get into your own thing, you can't watch yourself or listen to yourself. It gets very odd and confusing. We're doing okay. Otherwise, we're catching up to what's going on. Every button means a new thing. But if you want to ask, you can always write to me at upfrontfrank@gmail.com. upfrontfrank@gmail.com. I listen to any and all comments. I don't take it personal. So love me, hate me, tell me what you want, just ask me something, tell me something, and I will respond to it. Also, you can find us on skyscrescentradio.com, where you can feel free to check on the goings and comings of the entire station. And for Jade, you can always reach out to her at jadezabrick@gmail.com. Check out her band, The Trainwalkers. Trainwalkers.com. We have a lot of .coms going. Just keep taking the words I say, then say .com. How is everybody this week? What is going on? It's been another interesting week in Gotham City. Here I was last night, getting myself ready for this promised storm. But we didn't get any of that, which is, I guess, in New York City is pretty good. Some of the other boroughs can be smacked around, but Manhattan is usually, as of late, last few years, pretty safe. Okay, I take it. I know around the country it got pretty bad. But I had me and my 30 or 40 or 100 flashlights all ready to go. I was actually, before I even get into any of what I want to talk about today, what's going on in the world, I did get a comment from somebody asking me, what is it with you and flashlights? Well, I could not help but first laugh to myself for a while. But it's a question. I said I will address any and all questions. So if you're listening, here we are. I've always had a big thing about having a flashlight. Batteries, flashlight. My mom calls me the battery freak. I've always had flashlights, and people have always thought I was crazy. Well, I always had a couple. Then came Hurricane Sandy. If you remember, a lot of us, especially in New York, were in the dark for a week. Excuse me. Cheers. By the way, my tea, I drink Darjeeling, if you want to mail some in. So all of a sudden, the people who thought I was crazy, my madness became genius. I even gave my mom a little flashlight that looks pretty much, actually, it's one of these, little thing, no big thing, little thing. Thought I was crazy until she got it. And that night she wound up needing it. So all of a sudden I became a genius. And during Hurricane Sandy, I was loaning a few out. I don't know how many I really got back, but I loaned a few out. A friend of mine, matter of fact, the woman who sings us in every week, Cameron Eve and her and the band, the late band, The Choke, they were doing their road trip. And I asked them if they had one. And of course, no. So I loaned her a few. I got back one of the three, but they came in handy. So yes, I do have a big, large, vast collection of flashlights. But for anyone who's curious, this is my baby. The Fight, F-E-I-T, flashlight, 500 lumens. No, I'm not going to flash it in your eyes. Telescopic. This light here is one of the best lights ever made. This light, right? Don't worry, I'm going to get this stuff. This light here shines brighter than other lights rated far more powerful. Not because of the power rating of a light, like in lumen count. So you have to have a 10,000. This one here at 500 lumens because of the way the light projects out is bright. And this is my baby. With that, what is going on this week? Well, one of the biggest things, and maybe one of the most important things, is you can now get COVID tests, home tests, covered by your insurance company. So healthcare providers, health insurance companies will reimburse you up to $12. Right? You can go and get your receipts every time you buy one. Pharmacy will give you a receipt, or wherever it is you get them from. Get a receipt, save them, then you could submit to your health insurance and get reimbursed. And that is up to, I believe it's, what is it? I forgot if it's 4 or 8 tests a month. 8 tests a month. But you can check into it. I know the federal government is setting up its website on Wednesday, which I do not have the email address for as yet, and they will send you home tests for free. So this already has become a business. Not as much a necessity, but now it's a business. There's all the small little stores that bought it at a higher price when the demand said higher price. We'll probably be stuck with them, because why go into a store to pay 20 or 30, which I know stores that charge that much, when you're only going to get back 12, or you can get it from the government and get it for free. And so things have changed again. And as always, they're always changing. So what you do is go into your local pharmacist, okay? Or simply search COVID test reimbursement, and you'll get all your information there on how to get home testing for yourself. So that way, if you think you have it, got your head going on, your body aches, your throat, whatever it is, you think you have it, you don't have to walk into a pharmacy and say, "Hi, do you have a test that I can have?" And don't get other people sick, all right? Order a few for yourself, have them sitting in the house, no big deal. They're no bigger than this. I mean, if you've seen the test, it's like a box of candy at the movies. It's not that big. So yeah, it's just get a few for yourself, have it laying around. It's convenient, it'll be free. Or while you're healthy, go pick it up at the pharmacy, keep it in the house, you can get reimbursed. You may never need it, but it's good to have something laying around just in case. Sort of like a spare tire. You know what I mean? It's good to have one just in case. How was everybody else's week? What has been going on with everybody? All I'm doing is hearing the same news over and over. Well, there's other things going on in the country. Let's look at Exxon. Wow. Exxon is planning to shut down a Baytown, Texas crude unit by late next week. And I got this story on the 14th, which means just in a few days. And that came out of Reuters, and they are looking to, it's the second largest crude distillation unit. They do over 560,000 barrels per day. And watch the prices go up. I believe they're going to be redoing their location, overhauling, renovating, hanging up new drapes, or whatever they plan on doing with the site. This will definitely increase prices, keep track, because if you go through a lot of gasoline, like families of 4, maybe with a lot of cars, whatever else you use fuels for, generators or anything else, watch out, because things will be going up in price, I would imagine. So yeah, wow, 560,500 barrels per day that will stop coming out of Baytown, Texas. Yeah, that is pretty, that's a lot of people working. Hope the company is taking care of them. Oh my, oh my, What can you say, right? What can you say? Well, um, now not all the stories that I talk about, as I've mentioned before, not all of the stories have any real political significance, although they do at times. Some of the stories you rarely even hear about. I got this one off the Daily Wire, and I did check it. I looked around the internet, and I Google searched it. It is being listed in a few other sites. This story here, I know I've said often that even the most well-intended parents will screw up kids. How about all the best of intended adults? Adults will screw up kids. I'm not quite sure why, but somehow as adults, we like to screw up kids. And here's the state of Illinois, a school district there is defending an after-school Satan club for elementary kids. After-school Satan club for elementary kids. The district says it cannot discriminate against different different religious viewpoints, excuse me. Well, all right. Let's see what this one has to say. I often just read the stories with you. That way I can get the same shock you get. An Illinois school district is defending an elementary school hosting a Satan club after the strange extracurricular activity prompted outrage from parents. I don't blame them. The After School Satan Club is sponsored by the Satanic Temple of the United States, which says the clubs are a response to the Christian Good News Clubs at public schools across the country. Well, I am looking at the picture of their host statue. Looks like a gold god, I guess. Got that little, thing with the thing with the hands. I see the pentagram. I see the wings. The wings are pretty good. You know why I know the wings are pretty good? Because they're very descriptive. And when do I see wings like this? When I see Nazi symbols. That's just how I view it. This is very descriptive. This photo is descriptive. If you could just picture all the images you've ever seen of the Nazi eagle, hand gestures, this and that, and there's a pentagram to add to it. But somehow this does not sound like the greatest idea to me. Maybe to you, but not to me. Flyers for the club were displayed in the lobby of the Jane Addams Elementary School in Moline after a photo of the flyer later circulated on Facebook. Well, it would include science projects, puzzles, games, arts and crafts projects, nature activities, promise to teach kids benevolence and empathy, critical thinking, problem solving, creative expression, and personal sovereignty. So we'll make it fun for kids. Arts, crafts, games, puzzles, kids like that. Kids can have fun. You can get them involved. Kids are easy to get involved. Yeah, you can do that. The club was advertised for first grade to fifth grade children, when they're really impressionable. And yeah, so this is what's going on in Illinois, a satanic club for children. Well, they had clubs for children way back when, about 80 years ago. The word indoctrinate was pretty good. Worked then. So yeah, well, this is what's going on. I'm not sure how this is being allowed. And if you're going to hide behind religious beliefs, okay. But somehow, looking at this picture, it sort of tells me, at least it suggests to me, what's going on here. That's just to me. Don't hold me to it. We're going to shift around a little bit. As I mentioned before, you can get your COVID test for free. But before you do that, you sort of have to get off a cruise ship that's been stuck at sea after Norwegian Cruise Lines cancels a cruise mid-voyage. Well, there you are, 3-hour tour, right? Travelers on a Norwegian Cruise Line ship in the Caribbean have become stuck at sea after the company called off the trip mid-voyage due to COVID-19 issues, according to the report. Amy Facardaccio, Facardaccio, said she boarded the Norwegian Gem from New York City on a 10-day trip last Sunday for her birthday, but the vacation became a nightmare when the cruise line canceled the voyage 4 days into it and provided no timeline for the ship to return. Well, without the islands of ports to break up the days, people can't go anywhere. They're sort of stuck on a big ship. Well, hopefully there's a good playlist for music and some movies to watch. And I don't know what else you do in this particular cruise, but whatever's going on, people better make the most of it because they're stuck at sea. This story I found actually on the 16th. Yeah, so yesterday. They're still out there. A 3-hour tour. That's just what it is. I know it's a cliche line, but we all know what a 3-hour tour is. Yeah, they'll be on that island. Wherever island they find, will be 20 years before they get rescued from the ship. Wow. Well, without any information, how do you get them home? I'm waiting to see what the lawsuits consist of. This could be interesting. I want to see the lawsuits. They are stuck. I understand why they're out there. I understand why they're not being docked anywhere, but this is an odd thing. I don't normally hear this. Being told just to sit out there in the ocean where storms can come, where all kinds of things can happen without a plan in sight. Go Norwegian. Oh, man. Let me tell you, shifting to a little technology. If you have your electric car, the gas company, BP, BP gas, you've seen them, nice little green and white sign on the banner. Let's see, for BP, car chargers are going to overtake pumps in profitability race. So they're looking to put in more charges because as America becomes more with the electric charge, or even around the world, they will be wanting access to it, which I understand. I think that there should still be both, but I understand. But that is what's going on. They are going to be adjusting a few things. And for people with electric cars, you really do need to plan where you go and what you do. If your car is a hybrid, well, then, while you're driving, battery automatically charges. But if your car is strictly an electrical car, you got to charge it. Well, so far, I don't know of any portable car charges for a purpose like this to this kind of power. But yeah, you sort of have to plan things out. So keep track of your cars, your charges, see which gas companies are going to be offering more access to charge ports, and plan carefully because much like the ship in the sea, you may be stuck in the middle of a highway somewhere in the middle of the desert. We don't know exactly. Just be careful. What else is going on? Let's see. Speaking of technology, I gotta love it. Look how I shift around so effortlessly. FedEx is asking the FAA for permission to add anti-missile system to some cargo planes. Let's see, FedEx, Federal Express, wants to operate cargo planes outfitted with lasers that throw off incoming heat-seeking missiles, according to a newly published federal documents. In a filing last Friday, the Federal Aviation Administration indicated that FedEx had asked permission to add missile defense systems to some of its planes. There's a reason for concern. Okay, that's because in 2003, they're using as the example, a surface-to-air missile slammed to the left wing of an Airbus A330 operating for DHL, another delivery service, just after takeoff from Baghdad. Okay, well, they're saying in recent years, there's been several incidents abroad, civilian aircraft were fired upon. I understand, you got the gist. Well, they want to be able to add a defense system to some of their cargo planes. That takes a lot of training, except if you have a defense system, you will then need a way to defend because eventually someone's going to catch up and figure out how to do this. So if a plane comes at, starts firing a missile, even if if it ever comes down to that, you need a way to defend. So step one, I guess, get the defense system. That's what's going on in the world of FedEx. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. What else is going on here? Okay, this is a story that I can't believe. Again, I go back, I just read something ridiculous from, at least to me, ridiculous from Illinois, a satanic club. Now I see in New York, from Buffalo, this came out yesterday, that a New York school district is sorry for a homework calling Mexicans ugly and Americans pretty. I don't know who thinks this is taken from a Spanish class. That's what this is. This is taken, let me get into the story a little bit here. It says a Buffalo area school district has come under fire after a teacher asked her students to translate sentences from English to Spanish that called Mexicans ugly. And that's according to whatever reports. Sixth graders at middle school in Williamsville Central District received a worksheet in Spanish class, that prompted them to translate several sentences. You, friendly, are Mexican and ugly. Now I'm quoting this. This is a quote. Read one of the sentences while the other read, you, in a polite tone, are pretty and American. I don't know who thought of this. Who could possibly think that this, using the friendly and politely as to reference formal and informal? Okay, reference friendly and formal, or friendly, formal, and informal. That's part of learning the language. But how people come to 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 even put this in print, to put this in front of a child, sixth graders, what are they thinking of? What are they possibly conjuring up in their pea brain staff meeting when someone says, I have an idea, and no one says no? There's no one checking over anything. The principal isn't checking over. If this is a school district board matter, no one is checking over. This is a horrible thing to do to kids. It's a horrible thing to do to people who are Mexican, or any other person that you may put on the end. I mean, I'm Jewish. Why not say you are a Jew and you're ugly, and I'm not? I mean, that's just a horrible thing to do to the recipient. And I mean, they're not telling me the attendance in the class. For all I know, I don't know how big the class is, but there could be a handful of Mexican children in there, people of Mexican descent. There could be people of other Spanish descent. Why not? I mean, I'm Spanish, they're Spanish. It's, I don't get it. I just do not get when people come up with this crap to allow children to look with the intention of teaching, I guess, teaching. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about school boards, teachers, anyone else. Don't worry about it. Kids learn all the bad words and all the bad phrases from their friends. They learn everything they need to say to insult you as they go through their life when they're outside with their friends, and they learn everything bad to say. That's what kids do. I learned to curse at a young age. This coming from a school system, every one of them should be fired on the spot. And there should be someone as a teacher, again, a sixth grader. So you explain things to children as they can understand. So obviously you keep the vocabulary in perspective, because you keep everything in perspective. And you explain how wrong this is to the children who are forced to take this test. And then somehow, you don't apologize as you would to an adult. You apologize as you would to a sixth grader, and to their families, and anyone else you could think of, and splatter that all over the New York Times if you have. because this to me is, I cannot begin to list the degrees of wrong that I'm reading here. This is just the dumbest thing I can imagine. I'm now reading two stories of how can we fuck up kids the best way possible. And so now we have all sorts of racism in the classroom again, and we have devil worship in another state over there. Okay, then what else? What else you got coming to the city or to a school near you? This is just as dumb as it gets. Anyway, if you have a comment, we are live on YouTube. We are live. We do have a live feed going on Facebook at the Upfront with Frank Rothstein page or the Skies Crescent radio page. If you are hearing anything I'm saying, if you approve or disapprove and you'd like to comment about it or ask a question, feel free to do so. We do answer questions here. Either I will answer it, or if Jade feels she'd like to answer it, she'll do it too. But either way, we do answer questions here. What else is going on? Let's see. Certainly nothing good in school. What else is going on? Let's shift gears again. What is this? Oh, yes. I was reading, we'll shift a little gear here, right? Smooth things over a little bit, calm it down. I was reading from one of our local groups that keeps track on local politics and all, that the city is discussing ways of making it safer for cyclists, cyclists in the bike lanes. You see, we're in Manhattan, we're in New York, and if you're not familiar with them, we have bike lanes on the streets. It's usually off to one side or the other. Instead of on the curb where you used to park your car, there's a bike lane. Unfortunately, the city picked the color of swimming pool green, if you know what that color looks like, to paint them in, but you can see it. So the idea is to keep things safe for pedestrians on motorbikes. And you have seen the bicycles, delivery guys use them. They're regular bicycles with batteries attached, and they could drive about 20 miles or so, and they do or they have mopeds, or in this case, Vespas. If you've ever seen the Revel cycles, the blue, they're like Vespas, they're motorized bikes, scooters, or whatever. And there's always, the thing about people driving these things is there's no insurance, there's no license plate, there's no insurance. They're not thought of as motorists, like driving a car, a truck, a bus, a regular motorcycle on the highway or on the street. So they don't have to follow the regular regulations. They don't get ticketed. And if they hit you, they'll just ride off. They'll just leave you wherever you are. And since they're not under any supervision of the state in terms of driving, again, no license, no registration, no insurance, or anything else for that matter, at least I see a lot of guys out there riding on the sidewalks, going against traffic, going into the bicycle lanes that are meant for people on regular bicycles pedaling away. Now I'm looking at a story, they're on the Queensboro Bridge going in the pedestrian walkway. They don't want to sit in traffic, so they're on the walkway. And nobody says a thing. Nobody stops anything. Because now in Manhattan, for misdemeanors, you're not really going to be prosecuted. Well, maybe they'll get a little ticket, but that's about it, if they get the ticket. So this is what's going on. Especially for delivery services. I mean, I can understand why scooters and mopeds and whatever else, Vespa, why it's convenient to get around the city. Of course it is. But they're not being required to observe the same laws that people who drive cars or motorcycles would be required to do. They just go about their business, but in a very dangerous way. And now they're in the walkways of a bridge. So at least this is the story I'm reading. This is reporting about the bridge. Yeah, so again, someone got knocked down, just got a lucky, the woman that got 54 years old who got knocked down. Luckily, there was only a couple of scrapes in her knee and a little bump on the head, but could have been a hell of a lot worse. Really could have been. Yeah, so this is a thing. And my thing is yeah, I'm all for protecting cycle, people who work on cycle delivery guys. I don't want anyone to get hurt. I want everyone to get where they have to go. But I also think that if you have a powered bike, a vehicle of any kind, certainly if you can crank a handle or hit a little pedal and it takes off on its own, like a motorcycle, then you should be required to have a license plate. And much like if you drive a car, but now you want a motorcycle, you need a license for that too. Same as a truck, it's a different type of license. You should have a license for it, insurance, registration, and that way, when you cause a little damage on your little scooting thing, you're held accountable too. Accountability and safety is not a one-way issue. It's both, both of us, back and forth. It's just the way it goes. So yeah, this is a touchy subject, going on in Manhattan right now. I'm not sure how it's going to work out. I hope there's a reasonable solution to this. And if there's a law or mandates or regulations passed, it covers both sides, person riding and the person who does not. That's just one of the things. Okay, here's another tech. Let's go to tech for a little bit. Smart guns. I got this from NBC News today. Smart guns are finally arriving in the United States, seeking to shake up the firearms market. A smart gun, now I'm looking at a handgun, a pistol, just looking at what does it say here? They're redesigning guns to operate off of your fingerprint, whatever print they're using. Probably, well, wherever they put it, they're going to be using your finger. Okay. This is a 4-year-old company, Lodestar Works, unveiled a 9mm smart handgun for shareholders and investors in Boise, Idaho. And the Kansas company Smart Guns LLC saw law enforcement agents beta testing its product in a similar but simpler model. And that way it reacts to your hand. Okay, I don't have a gun here to pick up, but you know what a gun looks like. Okay, so you will have something, gun, it'll relax in your hand. Hang, I got the barrel, this is what you got, and there you go. It's going to react to your fingerprint. But there's also a keypad. So you have a PIN number. So in case your fingerprint doesn't work, if it's raining or if there's something on your hand and it can't be read, then you have a keypad to operate. So here you are trying to figure out why this gun isn't working. Well, now I have to go to my keypad. Meantime, whoever it is down the road is pointing a gun at you. This could take a long, long time to defend yourself. And I understand why they want the safety of it. Of course, kids pick up guns all the time. I read accidents here all the time. Kids. I would go with simply don't leave your guns laying around. That's why they have lock boxes. That's why they have things with combinations, safes with combinations. That's why your small child, your 6-year-old child, your 3-year-old child, who is only so tall, no taller than your desk, cannot possibly reach the top shelf of a closet. What do I know? So anyway, so we're putting some new devices into handguns and see how that works out. Good way to make some money, I guess, because I can't think of any other real good. Yeah. Okay, what else is going on here? I was looking, this came out yesterday, or today, what am I saying? Today's the 17th, came out today. There's a cold case going on for the last 6 years in the investigation of really a case of something that happened in 1944. It seems they have now named the suspect who betrayed Anne Frank. For those of you that do not know, Anne Frank is the girl who died during World War II in a concentration camp. If you've ever heard the story, the diary of Anne Frank, her and her family were being held, or of course, they were being hidden in Amsterdam for over 2 years. And somehow Nazis found them. And she was taken to the concentration camp Bergen-Belsen at age 15, where she was killed. And they were looking around for years. Finally, that's been an ongoing curiosity case, you know, mystery of how they found this girl and her family after so many years. But they are onto a clue. It's still a cold case, but they're having a thought of who it is, and it's still being discussed. This is incredible. It's a historic figure, obviously. Probably a good chance that she is the most famous person I believe, who ever died in a concentration camp. I could be wrong, but her name has been around since for the longest time. And that's what it was. Her diary was kept safe until after the war, after they took her, and it was handed, produced afterwards. And that's how we got her diary, her thoughts. But she was 15. So that's what's been going on. That feeling that someone, I believe, who was Jewish, who themselves gave up the information to protect. What can I say? You can always just Google and research Anne Frank. She could be found in any kind of a search engine, in a million books, every library. So, All right. So anyway, yeah, we're coming up. Wow, got 20 minutes to go. Look what's going on here. Okay, here is some. Here's one dumbass story. This isn't one of my. This isn't as good as the Satan Club, but this is extremely stupid. So I read this story the other day on the 15th, and here you got a guy who's suing his mother over pricey baseball cards. And it says a Manhattan man is doing what every American male has probably contemplated, suing his mother over the loss of valuable baseball cards. Christopher Trencher sent the cards, a 1953 Topps Ralph Kiner and a 1953 Topps Satchel Paige, are worth more than $25,000 if his mom, Carol Ivanek, has not damaged them. Well, his mom, Carol, is now 82. Bought the cards for him as a gift in the mid-1980s, but has refused to hand them over despite repeated requests. I'm not sure how that works out, but he's suing. The cards are rare and irreplaceable. I believe that. Yeah, so let's see. How did the writer put it? Says the mom was befuddled by the legal action as a batter trying to hit a Jacob deGrom slider. But anyway, I believe she was a lawyer. So I read dumb stories all the time. I say, I don't know, you're 82, give him the cards, let him sell them for 25 grand, then give him a bill for services rendered for taking care of him all through his life as a kid, cleaning up his mess, feeding him, wiping his nose when he was sick, wiping his ass as a kid, as a baby. Take care, give him a lifetime bill for your services, and then let him pay you back. Well, do it for $24,500. Let him have a few bucks. But this is really the dumbest thing. One of the dumb stories I find. I am just never, ever surprised by a degree of stupidity that people have. That's why I talk about the things I talk about. Notice I'm talking very little about the headlines. You can turn on the news for that. CNN keeps going all day long with the same stuff, as do the other cable news networks. You won't miss a thing. But this is really, this is really incredible. Well, Satchel Paige, I never saw pitch. But he was a great baseball player who came out originally out of what was then known as the Negro Leagues of baseball. And George Steinbrenner, when he took over the New York Yankees, signed him to a contract so he could get a pension, and he wound up in the Hall of Fame. Ralph Kiner, who was a great player in his own time, I never saw Ralph play because they played, pretty much before I was born, obviously. But I remember Ralph Kiner as an announcer for the New York Mets. And I always like listening. He's always a very good announcer. And most of these announcers have a lot of catchphrases. And his was, if he saw a ball was hit really good, it was always, that ball is going, it's gone, goodbye, and a home run for whoever you have to hit. And I remember Ralph Kiner all my life as an announcer for the Mets, along with Bob Murphy, who was probably one of the greatest announcers, especially for radio. We can just describe every last thing. It was always great listening to them. And when I was a kid, it was also Lindsey Nelson was there, the third partner in the booth. He was known for his jackets, his blazers that looked like horse blankets, but they were all good at what they did. So that's what's going on. Yeah, give him 25, then soon for 24.5, let him keep a few bucks. He could use the money to drink away the pain of losing all the money he had to pay back. If you are a Netflix fan, Netflix, your bill's about to go up. They said it's raising prices on its plans in the United States and Canada. The subscription price for the standard plan rose $1.50 to $15.49. Basic plan went up $1 to $9.99, and the premium plan increased $2 to $19.99. In Canada, the standard plan also went up $1.50 to 16. Well, Canada's Canada; they got their own thing to $16.49. But either way, their stock rose roughly 2% following the news. That's because they'll be taking in more money and the investors will be able to cash out a little bit. But then again, for everybody who streams and years ago, before it was really an issue, I knew that one day I was talking to a sales agent who placed content into cable companies, movies, whatever, into cable companies. Said, soon we're not even going to need the cable plan because you're going to be able to, right at this time, Hulu was starting to come out and a couple of others, and YouTube was starting to make its way around. Yeah, so we weren't going to be able to need it. We didn't need a cable company. But now, all you really needed was maybe a cable plan, or I should say, an internet plan, and say maybe the basic package. But excuse me. But as usual, the internet, I always said, destroys everything it touches. And yes, I am sitting on an internet company talking to you. It does. It has a way of eating its own. So now people who want to stream everything, whether you're on Netflix, Amazon, Paramount Plus, Paramount, NBC, CBS for CBS, ESPN, everything you can, HBO Max, everybody has their own subscription plan. I keep picturing tacking on 7 to 10, now sometimes 15 more dollars to your check every month, and this is what you will be paying. Bang, bang, bang. There goes your credit card. And that is what happens when the internet gets involved, because it used to be an alternative. Now it's a necessity because less and less people are getting cable plans. People who are younger don't get cable plans. I still have one. I watch certain things I do watch, but really, if I want to watch the news, I come on here and I click on the bits I want to hear. I go onto the CNN website, which is a free site, and I can watch live. I can do a lot of things, but as technology changes, something else gets destroyed. In this case, in a little while, it will be your cable plan, which soon may be the bargain package, depending on how much stuff you stream. So watch that bill. Matter of fact, you probably get billed per website. So start looking at your credit card carefully, because it's going to have a big list of all the places. Don't buy the New York Times, get it on the internet, another bill. Everything is a bill on your credit card. So just keep track, be careful. As it could get a little dicey, you never know. As I was just mentioning the Mets, of all things. Who knew? Who knew this could ever happen? The headline from Yahoo Sports is Major League Betting. Mets and Yankees are among World Series favorites. Yankees are always somewhere near the World Series. They're always a thought, even when they're not a favorite. They're the Yankees. It's just the way it goes. The Mets a favorite. That right now their betting odds, they're 11-1. That's a reasonable odd. That's pretty big. That's huge. The Mets. I never thought I'd live to see this. But yeah, the Mets, well, they signed big contracts with Max Scherzer. They they're looking for Jacob deGrom to return to health, of course. I understand. They added Carlos Carrasco and Juan Walker as their middle rotation of the pitching staff. They have a pretty solid lineup. I would like to see what they do with their bullpen. That can never hurt. So they have supposedly a good thing going on. We shall see, because my history with the Mets is they are the Mets, the New York Mets. They have that very distinctive sound in the audience. Only one team makes that sound. That's Let's Go Mets. So come spring training, we'll be let's going. We want to see what's going on. And as they have all these big contracts, watch yourself have to bring like $7,000 to go to a baseball game, because for all I know, a hot dog will cost you $24.95. But it is expensive to go to a game. I think it's horrible that the average family has to spend a paycheck to go to a baseball game. But hopefully, as a team, the Mets finally do something. It's been a lot of years. It really has. A lot of years. They last won the World Series in 1986. Wow. Anyway, let's go Mets. What else? A couple of quick stories before we're out of here. Oreos, the number 2 perfection in the universe. First there's the sun, then there is the Oreo. The Oreo is celebrating its 110th birthday in March with its first ever flavor, and they will be using, what are they calling it? Oreo is releasing a special flavor called chocolate confetti cake. It has sprinkles galore. Normally, messing with the Oreo. No, this is wrong. It's wrong. Wrong. They mess with the Oreo. They keep on adding one ridiculous flavor after another. This particular cookie will have sprinkles and have 2 layers of filling. I guess one chocolate and one, I guess, I don't know. It has a nice little multicolor wrapper with candles on it. It says 110. They're ready to go. They use sprinkles both in and on the cookie. Well, they're celebrating 110, so I'll let this one slide. But in the future, get rid of the wasabi Oreo. Get rid of the mocha java or caramel or whatever other Oreos you want to have. It's a perfect cookie. Leave it. The only thing I wanted, there's only 2 things you should do to an Oreo. Dunk it, or split it up and use your teeth to scrape it. Otherwise, I don't see any other purpose. Otherwise, you're mutilating the Oreo, and it is truly, So as for me, I've been trying to be good with eating and all that. I've been watching my sweets, but over the holidays, there were Oreos. So I had 6 on Thanksgiving and 6 on New Year's. So that'll hold me for a while. But on Oreo's birthday, which will be was it March 6th, I will be downing a sleeve with milk, because happy birthday to Oreos. Well, my final story. Let's end on a nice note for a change. I got this out of BBC from 3 days ago. It says Milton Keynes couple Ron and Joyce Bond celebrate 81 years of marriage. See that? The first name of the town threw me off. Ron and Joyce Bond celebrate 81 years of marriage. He is 102. She is 100. They live at Shenley Wood Retirement Village in Milton Keynes, and they are thought to be the UK's longest married couple. Yeah, they married on January 4th, 1941. Their daughter Ellen said it was said of them at the time that their wedding would not last long. Wait, their daughter Eileen, not Ellen, Eileen Eileen could be 80, 78, 80, 80, somewhere abouts. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty good. Well, congratulations to them. 81 years together. That's incredible. I don't know exactly what the world record is, the Guinness record is for longest marriage is, but good for them. I'm happy for them. And everything else is going along as the world goes along and sings its song. And me, I'm always looking for new music. That way, I put my headphones at night and I drown out all the things I hear in the news during the day. And that way, everything is going just both hunky and dory. And yes, my flashlight will shine on no matter what goes on in the world. So whether the ocean explodes as it's been doing later, as of late, with its with causing the tsunamis on the west coast and on the far east, or the storms that come from the south all the way up through the New England states, which I don't know how it missed Manhattan, but okay, or anything else that goes on, I got this. And that's all that really counts. Everybody, it's just about that time. Um, so far, I've enjoyed the Facebook, the YouTube experience. I see I had a few more listeners than I did the first than I did on the other places, which I'm happy about. Hopefully, I get a few more today. Feel free to send me a question or a comment upfrontfrank@gmail.com. Send Jade at jadezabrick@gmail.com some new suggestions for green screen designs. She's always looking to do something for a background and inquire as to what her tastes are, and then design one just for Jade. And that is what's going on. Everyone, I will see all of you next week. Hope everything is well. Remember, check with your pharmacist, see what's going on with your COVID-19 tests. Just always have one, like a gift, always have one in the glove compartment. You may just need one. And why, if you know you're sick, if you really have a strong feeling, why go into the pharmacy? They got to do enough for people. Anyway.